So what I was going to do is, I guess
Sorry,
share.
hold on. So Curtis, I definitely want to thank you for joining us today. For those who don't know, Curtis May, he is a Pinnacle agent at Ameritas, which means he is one of the top 25 agents in the entire company. I know he qualified for some. He just came back from Spain. He just came back from, I believe he was in Orlando last week as well. I met him in Cincinnati at a convention at a convention as well. And Curtis is part of a study group that we formed, and we share ideas within that study group. So he was grateful enough to bless us with his time this morning. We really appreciate, because the ideas that he shared with us in the study group, and he's going to go with his marketing and technology and the things that he does to be successful. And he's actually in the field every day as an agent, just like you guys. So if you have any questions, and one that's one of the ways how I got over to the top. And because the wholesalers, they can come on and talk, and it's nice, they can teach you the product, but how you really learn is when you talk to somebody that's actually doing it every day. And with that, Curtis, I'll leave that. I'll turn it over to you, and you can introduce yourself to the group, and you can take it from here.
Okay. Am I sharing? Can you see my screen?
Yes. Hmm.
Mark. Okay. So thank you for having me. He showed me some really cool things because now I've just started recruiting. God help me. And 'cause I tell you, I'm unwilling to let go of my personal production. I was trained at whatever you need to do, you need to make a living with your pen, right? So I
Mhm.
I have a certain lifestyle I've got to maintain. I make my money. So, probably no one always make money, but what I'm trying to do is as I'm thinking about this, because I've been asked to make this a thing and coach other insurance agents, which I don't really feel like doing outside of my team. And but I like to kind of help out if I can. Now I'm going to talk fast because this really could go an hour and a half, but I'm going to and at the end I will send you. I'll get my assistant working on it. If not, I'll Charles will send you later of a links to some of the tools I may um recommend, or some of the tools I not recommend, but I use as I go through this. And so the other thing is, I'm going to give you some stuff, but don't get overwhelmed thinking you have to do all this stuff. I compiled this over about 10 years from various books, and I would try this, and then next year I would add this, and then next year I add this. So what I want you to do is I'm going to show you, 8 or 10 different things that you can do to keep your calendar full. Pick one for the quarter, and then next quarter add another one. So I want you to show you how to adjust it. So I call this Beyond the Project 100. And one of the things I challenge people, and this, would that speak last year? Yeah, I gave a talk. So I only got 2 pages of this thing, into the meeting. They gave me like 20 minutes. But one of the things I ask people is, what business are you in? Right. And all the time, I would want to really go deeper in this, but really you're in the marketing business. Okay. And a lot of people, if you look at if you're at Ameritas, the producer workbench, there's a book in there called Building Your Financial Services Practice. And it's understanding the job. Your job is not a sales job. It's a business. It's a job of work creation, seeing people, organize the people that you need to see, sorting versus convincing. I was saying professionals sort, SORT, amateurs convince. So I don't convince people. I don't overcome objections. I don't, what are you objecting to? Me helping you put your kids through college, me helping you make sure you're properly protected, me helping you save 15% of your income. What are you objecting to? So I don't understand that. So I try to run people off more so than, I don't prospect. Prospecting is chasing. I like to attract. Jim Rohn says success is you become you have to be attractive. I just finished another book that's not in here as I've read since this stuff, because I might read a book, 2 or 3 books a month. So when I created this 2 years ago, there's new books I may mention that's not going to be in here. But another one is by Daniel Priestley called Becoming a Key Person of Influence. Okay. So you're in understanding what business that you're in. And so when I look at stuff, my triangle is what's my market, who's the who, what's the message, so I'm experimenting with this program that I discovered called Debt Free for Life. So who is the who? People are in debt. The message is how to stop doing the debt snowball, and here's a better way where you end up out of debt and with money. And the media, so when people talk about media social media is a channel. It's not it's nothing more than the channel. So what you got to ask yourself, it starts out with who's your who, what problem do you solve for them, the message, and then the media is how you find them. So wherever whether it's so media, are your people on LinkedIn? Are they on Instagram? Are they on Facebook? You know what I mean? Do they like going to seminars where you're going to, I would do a search of local meetups around me. Like, where are they? And then that's your media. Are they on YouTube, right? What's your media? So I want you to start just looking at media, not say, oh, are you on social media? That's not a thing. It's like, what are you doing out there so people where it's like fishing, where to fish. You need a school of hungry fish. You have to have a message. That's the bait. And you drop your line in the water of looking for a school of hungry fish. So what are they interested in? What products? What problems do your product solve? So I think you have to start from that. And so there's a great podcast. I'm gonna show you where I learned all this stuff. I have no original thoughts, right? So I listen to I Love Marketing. I've listened to it. It's kind of still in my regular rotation, but what I learned from that were the 8 profit activators. And I look at my business, and I'm gonna show you how I break it down into 3 parts. This might be a little small, I'm sorry. Before, during, and after. And before a unit, uh is I break it down to attract, capture their information, like a lead capture page or a text to this, to that thing, and then educate and motivate, or what I call nurture, which is my email list, which is MailChimp, right? And I stay in touch with people, and I put on my email list so that I email people 2 or 3 times a week. It's not like writing all this stuff. Sometimes it's just I watch sending out an interesting YouTube that I've listened to that I think solves a problem. They should hear a Jim Rohn video or Myron Golden or whoever that I think has a good message. That's not too long, and sometimes they're long. I mean, it's really not. They watch it. If they watch it, they'll be blessed. But if they don't watch it, I'm still in their face. Like, they still see my name popping up. So I want to be top of the mind at all times. And because people out, they'll see the email. I had a couple people reply, when a student is ready, the teacher will appear, and they reply to the email about something. Hey, I need to do such and such. And I was top of the mind when the thought came across. I was in touch with them. Okay. So what I want you to see yourselves, you're in Charles's, I used to call it base shop from my other company, but you're in the agency, but you're independent business people. Okay. And so you got to focus on making money, managing your cash flow, saving 10 to 15% of your income, investing in your business, and excuse the expression, making shit happen. You have to, it's not, a lot of people get in here and they're like a baby bird where you want to, the mother bird comes up, chews the food up, and put it in your mouth. And you're sitting there like, give me more food. You have to get out there in a short period of time, and you've got to be able to go fishing. You got to be able to go hunting. You have to be able to do that yourself. Otherwise, you'll always be crippled. I don't buy leads. I ain't bought lead. I don't cold call. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. I'm chicken. So I'm not a really outgoing person. So I don't like cold call. But if I meet you, I'm going to stay in touch with you. I'm good at that. And if I meet you, I'm going to serve you, and you're going to give me referrals. So that's like foundational in our business. And then, so I'm going to show you the during, learn how to make offers, uh, um, after sales service, after you've done it. And then my after unit is through email, through educational workshop, staying in touch, orchestrating referrals, which generate new sales from, doing annual, semi-annual reviews, that type of thing. So those are 3 parts of my business. So when I look at growing, and I'll look at my numbers, and there's only 3 ways to grow a business. So when I want to grow, I got to increase the number of clients. I want to increase the transaction value. So for example, are you solving for human life value? Or are you letting them tell you how much insurance they want? What is, if somebody's 42 years old, how would you figure out how much insurance, not they should have, that they can't have? I want you to unmute and answer.
Generally, by multiplying their annual income by 20.
Good answer. Yes, exactly. And so what happens is, if you did that, you'll give yourself a raise just by showing them what you're supposed to have, because most of our people especially are underinsured, right? So I actually add to this. I'd say you can go 4 ways, right? Increase your number of clients or lead generation, increase your conversion, so get better at follow-up, get better at sales, so that if you're seeing 10 people and you only close 3, well, if you can close 6 or 7, you just doubled your income. Right? So that's, because you got to have something to say that makes you unique in the marketplace, and then you got to have something to say it to. So this talk is really about having something to say it to. I'm assuming you already have something to say, and you increase the frequency of how often they buy. If you're doing human life value, then a lot of my revenue this year is coming from term sales I did last year doing the conversion. So that's inventory for new business. Okay. Um, adding disability, which I don't do enough of. Okay. So these are like, I can add more revenue by going deeper servicing the client. So so I kind of adapted this talk from this book that I read like easily 15 years ago, because I was struggling. I would, 6 grand and 3 grand a month, hit 18 grand a month, drop back down to 2,700 the next month, right? So I was that person. And so you can't, if you're that, you can't concentrate. You're always in scarcity because you don't know what you're going to make. Or is that just me? Is that, and so what happens is I had to solve. So this came from me being tired of that. I was doing, what are those things called? In the fall, this is like 2007, 8, I was doing enrollment, call center stuff, right? On ACA, on benefit enrollment. And it was good. We paid $1,000 a week, but I hated, and so from I want to say November to December, if you're in a like a low middle market, you could starve to death, right? Because people are saying, see me after the holiday. And they mean January, right? And all of a sudden I got tired of that. And so I have to do these call center things because my business would die, and I need to do that just to have Christmas for my kids. So, and then, I was licensed, and it was easy work. I just hated it, right? Some people love that. I hated that because your business is dead, you got to start all over because you haven't talked to any people for 3 months. But I was driving an hour each way to do this call center stuff, doing voluntary benefits for whatever, and it literally paid $1,000 a week. But they didn't have business all year long. I said, well, it seemed good money. I said, well, that's only $52,000 a year. That's nothing. And but it kept me going those 3 months. But every year I hated it, and every year I had to do it, I felt that was a failure. Okay. And so this girl challenged me. I said, I'm talking about the stuff I'm learning, and we're gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. She goes, wow, you're pretty smart. So if you're so smart though, why are you here with us? Bang. Right. I was like, okay, you're right. And I said, you know what? You will never see my ass again in life, in here. Okay. And I made a promise to myself. And then that's when I got serious about what I'm about to show you. And then that kept me out of that, because that was my main thing. I need now, the fourth quarter are some of my biggest months. I've made Summit because we did about 50,000 in production in December that paid. And then that put me, I was like 23 in the nation. I ended up doing this, what I'm about to show you. Last year I was 14th in the country, and then we made Centurion, where we did 120 cases live. So I just want to show you, I'm not just like making stuff up. This is what I do. Okay. So not to be bragging, this is just, I've learned, I'm just giving you the pain of how it made me figure this crap out. All right. So here are the 8 core promotion strategies. So one is networking. Networking is foundational. You can't build your business. And so the trick with networking is, when I network, so networking means, what's that thing? Meetup is a search engine. So if you don't have anywhere to go, you should be going to meetups every week. What's the other one? Not Invite. It's called
Eventbrite.
Eventbrite. Right. That's a search engine. So I would either do events, that's another one, but I would look at events that are attracting my ideal target market. So you gotta, who's your market? So you gotta know who. It's not anybody that can fog a mirror that can write you a check. I target, upper middle income families. I tend to who people who find me are real estate investors, small business owners, and I teach infinite banking. So that's, that is a specific niche that really serves those people because they want liquidity, use control of their capital. So that I have a unique niche. So when I'm out networking, who works with those people? So when I go to an event, I'm looking for real estate agents. I'm looking for accountants, CPAs, bookkeepers, mortgage people, business coaches, right? I'm looking for people that service the same market. I just got off a podcast interview about 15 minutes ago, and her show is she coaches real estate agents and mortgage people, right? So part of the talk was I teach on cash flow management. We talked about that. We talked about why I think typical financial advice is bad for business owners. So that makes me unique in the marketplace. And so when we got finished talking, we're talking about doing some type of joint venture. I think she has a good message for some of my people. And she has an affiliate program which teach people how to use she's incorporated using Go High Level, which I use a version of that also, but for insurance agents. And so we talked about 10 minutes after the talk, and then she's getting ready to go to Europe for the 6 weeks. And when she gets back in July, we're going to talk about how we can co-venture on some stuff. So I do that all the time with people. Does that make sense? So that's what you're networking for. That's why I network for. I'm networking about looking to bump into clients. I want to have people that know people, right? So because if they have a database of 500 people and they'll do a mailing for me or email for me, or we can do a joint webinar together, then those people are my people. Or some of those people that opt into wherever I'm giving away become my people and go on my list. So you want to be looking to do 1 or 2 of those every month. Direct outreach. Start with who you can, but how can you bring value to them? How can you serve their people, right? A lot of times, I did mortgages about 20 years ago, briefly, as an add-on to my business, like a mortgage type MLM. But what I would do is when I would get asked to talk at real estate offices, I would talk about database management. I didn't talk about mortgages. I talked about how to harness the power of your mortgage as a wealth building tool. But I wasn't just talking straight stuff. So, you've got to think of stuff. There's a lot of stuff in Producer Workbench. I saw something, Charles, on there yesterday on how to use traction as a lead generation and start talking about the Gino Whitman book, Traction. And it was another book they put in there. And I was like, well, that's interesting. Let me look at that. And maybe I might use a different book that I'm more familiar with, even though I haven't read it. But you can lead with that. I use I use Become Your Own Banker or some other stuff that I might do a book study around. Does that make sense? So that's direct outreach. So ask for help. I need your help with people that I know you might not be interested. I love to talk to you for about 15 minutes. Maybe we can, I want to show you what I'm doing. I'm not trying to sell you anything, but maybe you could, some people that could benefit from what I do. Can we do that tomorrow at 1 or would 3 be better? Right? Always. So that's how I would do that. Referrals are your lifeblood of your business. So you want to ask yourself, are you referable? Right? Because nobody wants to sick a salesperson on your friends. So I try to position myself as a financial educator. So I'm talking to people. I want to walk away with a new idea, a book recommendation, something where I'm creating value for them, where they're not, I don't want them to see my number on their caller ID. Oh, it was Curtis again. What's he want? Okay. So that's what we're trying to do. So another good book, I think I'm gonna try to meet him. I'll get him on the show. Endless Referrals, Bob Berg, Being a Go-Giver. So that mindset. So it's like, where's the good stuff? Where's the social media stuff? This is the basics. This is blocking and tackling. Okay. And so with referrals, every person you know has a sphere of influence of 250 people. And all things being equal, people like to refer people to those who they know, like, and trust, and who they network with. So, you feel good. You want to ask questions. Most of these people want to, my new agents want to, I want to do illustration. Can you do, I don't even go there, right? Is, if I meet somebody, a question I always ask if I'm at an event, how do I know if I'm talking to a good prospect for you? Right? And then you exchange numbers. That's a win. And you follow up with them later, right? This whole book is on how to do that. Send them a thank you card, put them in your CRM, connect them on LinkedIn. You should have a whole ritual for when you meet people to build your list out. Okay. And so you want to always, the referrals are foundational. And then, these are like a list of what I call strategic alliances, complementary professionals, that I would screenshot this, and I would kind of make a what is this called, a mind map of who I know, what organizations do I know of, what colleges that do adult education. Can I speak at a church? I don't want to speak. I don't want a special meeting. I want to be the guest speaker of the meeting that's already going on. I want to be the guest speaker with the choir with 100 people, and they want to have a book study. I want to come on Men's Sunday where we're going over first fruits and how money works. And I'm going to talk about cash flow management. I'll talk on MLK Day. I created a talk called it's called the 8 Traits of Black Millionaires from Dennis Kimbro's book. And I wrote it as a little paper, then I expanded it, made a PowerPoint, and then I did a class, and then somebody saw the class, and 2 organizations asked me to speak on it on MLK Day. Right? That's becoming a key person. I didn't know what I was doing, but that was it. What I found was that teaching sells. Okay. So you want to position yourself to each. And so here are the core elements. So like I said, a lot of this talk came from this. So my core are direct outreach, networking, referrals, and then keep in touch. So that's email. I also use another tool. I'll put these in a list for you. Send out cards is I put people in it. Like I get a client, we have a campaign on where they get a thank you card, a birthday card, a Thanksgiving card, and a holiday card. And it's like an email thing. I just send it out and they get a physical card in the mail. And
That's
those are
through
my,
Ameritas?
no, this is just stuff. These are, I'll send you my links. These send out cards is a network marketing business, but I don't do it like that. I just use it mostly, but I'll refer to people and show them how to use it.
Thank you.
Yeah, most of this stuff is like the websites. Here's this. Let me show us on this page. So send out cards, MailChimp. A lot of people use Redtail. I met the guys at Connections, and the Redtail is great. I've been using this for 5 or 6 years. It's like $15 a month. And it does everything I need to do. And I use another one called Agent CRM. I don't have a slide for that, but Agent CRM is kind of like ClickFunnels, less annoying, acuity scheduling, funnels, all rolled up into one package for like $97 a month. So you just got to look at your budget and see. And so one of the things that how I keep in touch is greeting card campaigns, newsletter. Like today, I'm gonna probably do 5 or 10, at least 5. I try to do 3 to 5 forum calls a day, which are just random calls to my database. Forum. How's the family? What occupation? How's work going? How's the business going? Recreation? What's what y'all planning for the summer? Anything fun? And usually, if I have a message, but usually something I do that, 1 out of 4, 1 out of 3 really triggers. Oh yeah, we gotta look at my stuff. Yeah, I just had a baby. I don't want to get insurance on them. So you just got to do random calls. So because people don't, I want to call who before there's a problem. I want to be, so I'm trying to be proactive. I will pull down within, my people are instructed to a month go into producer workbench, and a month before their anniversary, pull them down. And I want to do a call. So before the annual review, because I want to do their in-force illustration, but I just want to check in and, hey, listen, I don't have no agenda. This is your phone calls. And I'm in Zoom. Just want to touch base. How's it going? Da, 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 da. And they really appreciate that, just because most people, they don't never hear from their agent again. Okay. That makes you referable, that kind of stuff. Okay. and my CRM is I live within my CRM. Okay. Here is a good core strategy. The CRM is a must. Okay. It's because when you get leads, where do they go? It's a funnel for turning your leads into customers, events you have landed, allowing you to keep good notes, set reminders, steps to event process, stay on top of everything. So I don't try to remember anything. There's a great book by David Allen called Getting Things Done. And one of the main thing I got from that was create a system your brain trusts and just do a brain dump of all your stuff in there and follow-ups. And I don't try to remember anything. I told my wife, listen, in Google, Natalie, my youngest, she has a recital, she's in a chorus, or I put her track meets in my thing and I put it in CRM. I color code it blue for family. And if you want me to do something, like we got to take her to Michigan to camp. When is that? I got to put in my CRM because I live in that. I'm scheduling my time out month, 2-3 months out. So you want to do that. You need to create your parameters. So if you're working from home, you are in the work creation business, right? So you've got to schedule your time. You've got to live and die with your calendar. You've got to add these things are like, if you're not on appointment or doing something I'm naming here, you're unemployed. You're not working. This ain't work. This is training. Okay. Work is when you hang up. How many people did you call today? Right. So I call it LAPS. I got this from Daniel Priestley: leads, appointments, presentations, sales. So all this stuff is to do that. So if you look at and you wonder why you don't have any production, how many leads did you generate? How many appointments did you run? So you got to generate leads, you got to call them, you got to make appointments, you got to give a presentation. And then from that is sales. And then I add a R on there, how many referrals? Because people say, oh, I made a sale. Okay. How many referrals you get? Because if you don't have an endless chain, if you don't get referrals, you're out of business. You're scratching and crawling for your next lead. So every sale you make, you should have 2 to 5 referrals. So if you do 3 sales, you have 15 new people to see next week. All right, here we go. My favorite strategy, speaking. I like doing one-to-many versus one-to-one, so I've slacked off that. So I'm working on that where there's live events, webinars, and I like positioning. So I'm positioning myself as a thought leader, as a key person of influence. And I started doing it about 15. I didn't know what I was doing. Somebody told me, or some of my church said, you're missing your gift. I was like, what was that? She says, you should be speaking. I didn't think I was a particularly good speaker. I was passionate, and you give me a PowerPoint, I'm dangerous. I mean, don't have me stand up at a podium. I'm not a good speaker, but I'm a good teacher, right?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
It may be off topic a little bit, but
That's right.
when you're talking about referrals and repeat business, my question is, how many policies do you write on One Life in terms of life policies?
One family,
One life, so one person.
one person.
So yeah,
2, maybe 3.
I'm
I write 2. Every case I do. What's the first thing that we solve for if we're doing insurance?
the income replacement,
So, and what's the best way to do that, in my opinion? Or
term insurance.
term insurance, right? So every client, there's nothing wrong with term insurance, right? And I only do term with it's convertible into permanent. I only do term my whole life. So just to know where I'm coming from. So but basically all my clients do so whatever you do in your age, that's thing. The first thing I solve for, I want them to get the most insurance they can for the least amount of money. So I'm always going to solve for term. See, I paid my first death claim at 23. On a cousin of mine, I had $100,000 policy. This is I'm old, so I got my license at 85 to show you. So I got my license in college when I realized the NBA was not looking for 5'11" 2 guards, and I got my insurance license, Charles. So so it's like 87, and I got a call at 2:00 in the morning. So and so they had this weird respiratory element, like a COVID before COVID, and she was 28. She died. I put $100,000, replaced like a final expense policy, put $100,000. It's like 10,000. And it was like $21 a month. It was nothing because we showed her 200, right? And she was 28. So I discovered. So I get a call at 2 a.m. So, her name was Shelly. Shelly's dead, and my first thought was, I hope this shit works. Right? So, and but so I had conviction early, right? I carried the check around with me, right? And then I discovered contestability because she only had the policy 9 months, right?
Mm.
So it turns out it wasn't nothing crazy. So they paid it plus interest. So that elevated my conviction. I didn't understand human life value or anything, but now I get that. So I don't let people, you ultimately you're going to get more than you thought you get because I'm not an order taker. And then what I do is I use permanent insurance as a place to store cash. And so my clients will save, I teach them to save 15-20% of their gross income. And then I want about 10,000 of that running through a max funded whole life policy. So every most households I hit is 2, and I'm trying to add if it's a single parent, if it's a so and talking about increasing transactions. So if it's a husband and wife, it's term, 1 whole life, and if they're both working, 2 whole lives, because I'm gonna make sure they save money. And then either on the term, if they're not ready yet, I'm gonna do a child rider on one of the terms because I don't like connecting it to permanent because it's a drag on the efficiency of the cash. And then I'm starting to show people how to use the whole life in lieu of or permanent insurance, I'll say, in lieu of a 529 plan.
Okay.
So I'm trying for like 4 or 5 cases out of one house.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Let me stop here. I want to make sure we got about 7 minutes. I'm almost done, I think. No, I got 10. So I'm gonna keep going, but stop me if you see questions. So because this is my favorite thing.
Well, we
So
got till 1:15, so
okay, good.
an hour. Yeah.
So the giving talks, right? So there's 2 types of talks. There's public seminars, which are my least favorite, and there's captive seminars, which are my favorite. Okay. So a public seminar is when you just create an event, people are doing like dinner seminars, you put all this money and you get plate liquors and doing all these big workshops where you're getting the whole which they work actually, because you realize that I do those. I try to do one of those a month because you always got to have something to invite people to, whether y'all do it combined or whatever, alive or I find if I think most people are getting over being afraid of COVID. So I do like live workshops. I find people, especially people like you and I like to congregate. You want to be around people, right? So I want to build community, but it can be a webinar, right? Because it's easy to throw the webinars. And so when we do a webinar, I have probably 2,000 people on my email list. My assistant puts it out on Eventbrite, on LinkedIn, and on IG and Facebook. You get less engagement directly from Facebook. I get more like appointments from Instagram. I don't really use TikTok yet. And I don't really get a lot of lead flow from LinkedIn, but it keeps me top of the mind. Okay. But my favorite ones, and this is why you go networking. I'm looking for captive workshops, right? So adult education workshops. So y'all have those things like in the fall, it'll be like classes of how to do Tai Chi or how to do basket weaving or retirement plans for such and such, or how to use PowerPoint, those type of classes at colleges or wherever, or high schools, what I'm talking about. So when you get that catalog, you should take it, think of a talk that you can give, or a couple of talks that you can give, and you got to pitch it to them. But if they like it, it can't be product oriented, right? But if it's interesting, they'll put you in that you can get a class, and they're going to promote it, and you just got to show up and teach it. There's a place in Delaware called the Delaware Money School. I lived there for 2 years. I was the director's favorite speaker. So I would just think of interesting titles. They'd put it out there. People see the title. And my first one was How to Live Debt Free and Truly Wealthy. Like 45 people registered. And about 25 of them showed up. And about 10 of them wanted appointments. Boom, that's one to many. Okay. So I had a friend of mine who's a regular financial advisor. And when I was doing mortgages, I would come in, I would do a class for one of his 8 class that he did. I would go in and teach a class on how to harness the power of your mortgage. So you can get in with people that are already doing them. You can work with other professionals to speak to their clients. You can do churches or nonprofits. I would do schools. The schools, because I like, giving. I don't, people say, oh, well, you got to give back. I don't like that phrase because I didn't take anything, so I don't have to give anything back, but I can give. Okay. That's people trying to guilt you for being successful. I don't accept that. And so I'm a little bit weird, guys. So don't be like me. But what happens is a lot of times, like you do like classrooms, you get the teacher and the teacher assistant want to talk to you after the fact because all they're getting is fund your 403b. And if I could go back, I would get a lot of them out of that and put it into life insurance. We have more access to their money during the summer, and or lower it and put more money into permanent insurance. But you teach and sell, sponsor and speak. Sponsor and speak is I will do somebody's already got a class. I will buy pizza and then get the opportunity to talk for 10 or 15 minutes. That's what I was doing in school district where I would do teacher retirement plans. I've done it for other people. I will sponsor and speak. I'll have them fill out a little card, or I have a text thing called Textiful is another one I use. I can't think of the name. But I'll say, look, text Be the Bank to 55444. And I did a talk. One of my speakers is like a real estate guru local around. She's kind of national, and they had a VIP dinner, so she asked me to come with her, and I spoke on infinite banking. And so I couldn't show anything. I only had 15 minutes. I said, look, all right, I don't have time to really teach this, but here's what it is. Here's how it helps you as a real estate investor. So if you'd like to know more or have a conversation about this, text, get my report, The Value of Liquidity, and text Be the Bank to 55444. And, it captures their text, it emails them, their text comes to my team, I forward it to my VA calls and make an appointment. So in that 15 minutes, I got 16 leads. And over the next 3 or 4 weeks, I probably made 7 or 8 sales out of that for a 15-minute talk. Sponsor and speak. Okay. Where you get table, like if I do a table, I want to vend. If I vend, I want a chance to speak so I can send people back over to my table. I'm not just going to be there like some knucklehead, just like one in the crowd. I need whatever, if can you put a flyer in my church? If you do a flyer in a church, it needs to be a direct response flyer, and I want to speak, but unless it's a donation, it's all marketing. So like if I put a business card, that doesn't mean anything. I'm just supporting the church and giving a donation. It needs to be direct response oriented so they can read that, and I'm going to give them a call to action so they can scan my QR code or get my free report. Okay. And you're looking for association. So some of y'all, I would look at this and say, who do I know like this? And then Charles can help y'all develop. You may have a talk. You've got some talks you can develop. And then I don't care if it's on budgeting. 10 steps to improving your cash flow by building a solid budget. It's whatever, it doesn't matter the topic, it matters that you're in front of the room speaking. That positions you as an expert. Let me stop here for a second. Does that make sense? Anybody, have I said anything so far that y'all cannot do tomorrow morning?
No, but I do have a question.
Please.
So you mentioned some social media outlets, most that are generally approved by corporations, and that you don't run things like leads. I've been getting my business from social media for the past few years as well, but through YouTube. And so my question is, if you're familiar with that platform or even the platforms that you use, do you put out evergreen content? I'll be honest, I'm unorthodox in my content. I do a lot of different things that might turn some people off, but I'm kind of trying to attract those who are attracted to what I'm doing.
Yes, no, that's exactly how you use social media. So most of it is I disqualify people. I say stuff like, listen, if you love Dave Ramsey, you probably ain't gonna like me. Right? So please don't call me because I can't help you. Right? So I do that. So my theme is kind of wealth without Wall Street, right? That's kind of what I'm known for. The anti-Wall Street financial advisor. So that's kind of that's just my thing. I was registered. I know how it works. I just decided in 2002, I didn't want to do that anymore. And so I can get away with a lot of stuff other people can't get away with because I don't have compliance over my shoulder. And I was a principal. I know what's compliant and what's not compliant. I just, that's not what I do. And but yeah, I have probably 500 videos. So I have a podcast, right? So I do interviews, or I'll do I'm great at more like basic stuff, should you write insurance on your kids? So I'm actually go over this summer, I'm gonna really do like, here are some topics on specific, because I've been interviewing a lot of people, and which it's just good, but I think people are getting lost in that, and I'm not getting as many calls as I want. But it keeps me top of the mind. So what happens is when I do this other stuff, then they look you up. So if they search me, they find our website, they find my YouTube videos, they find the podcast. So now, okay, he's got credibility. They start listening to some of the content. I've had people hear me on another Persian show, follow me, go back to episode 1, listen to all this episodes at 1.5, 2.5 speed, and then they call me. So it's like shooting fish in a barrel, because they already know what I'm about, what we're going to talk about. They say, dude, you're the same voice inflection, same jokes. I say, yeah, I'm what you see is what you get. I'm not a different person when we get on the phone. They already feel they know me. And so that's the power of YouTube is, you got your own TV station, basically, right? And you should be unorthodox. Because again, why what Dan Kennedy used to say, if you don't have offend at least 2 people by noon, you're not marketing hard enough. So, you want to be a little bit polarizing in your message. So you're not going to please everybody. So what you want to do is, how do you stand out? Your people will hear your voice and they will reach out to you, because what you want to strive for is an inbound business. I'm trying not to make any outbound. I don't make any outbound calls. My assistants do, but I don't really make outbound calls. I started up so that I put information out so I can be found. They figure out that that's what to do, and I give them a free gift or a link to call me and go right to my calendar. And so somehow that I have new people on between that and my people calling and referrals and stuff. I can run. I backed down. I'm ready to run it back up again, but at one point I was doing 6, 7 appointments a day.
Okay.
4 or 5 days a week. I was like, oh, I'm too old for this. So
Okay.
when I was 25, I dreamed of that. Now I was like, all right, wait, yeah.
Well, I'm gonna throw my YouTube and my Instagram and stuff in the chat. And if you're familiar with Dan Pena, I talk a lot like him.
Good. I like that. Yeah, I am. Yeah, I like him. See, I like that. That's what, because people are too wimpy. Like, you got to be able to take people in your face. I'm a basketball player, so I'm used to that stuff. So it's all good. And business. My dad said, look, business and feelings ain't got nothing to do with each other. So if you're in the locker room, you got to be able to take it, right? And be insulted. Like, I'm working on a business class, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do this business mastermind. And I was talking to a partner of mine. She goes, I said, well, what's your level? I said, well, look, if you're not making $4,000 or $5,000 a month, you don't have a business, you have a hobby. Okay. And so people are fooling themselves. And so I was going to create this thing where if you're not making that, you can't come. Nonprofits can't come. I want people that are eating what they kill, because then I can coach them. But I say, look, I'm being nice. Talk to our market, because the meeting I heard that where he wasn't thinking about my feelings at this thing called Rainmaker says, listen, if you're not making $10,000 a month, you don't have a business, you have a hobby. So I wasn't offended. I was like, okay, well, I guess I better get my game up, right? So that's how you have to approach stuff when you're in business. So create a marketing map. So this is getting to, how I think about it is this, I stole this from Infusionsoft, but I kind of, this whole talk came from me I'll show you the handwritten notes on top of this that help me think about, because I think in pictures, right? So it's attract clients. So this is before: attract, capture, nurture. During is my sales conversation, wherever that is for you. Then deliver and satisfy. So deliver the policy, make sure they understand it, and set up, have some follow-up, send them a thank you card, send them a 30-day or quarterly review to make sure they got it, everything's working well. Upsell them. I'm an affiliate with Legal Shield, right? So I might, if I don't want to send them to an attorney, I might use Legal Shield to make sure they get their will, done, right? And help them set it up. Get referrals and start all over again, right? And so let's break it down a little bit. So marketing, you're in the marketing business. So this, when people don't have enough appointments, this part of their business is broken. So this is what I realized was broken for me. So I think about this. This is my before unit. So think of this as a separate business where the goal of this business is to feed my during unit, which is my sales process. So I view this. So when I go to a conference, Charles, I on my notes, I'll go, all right, before, during, and after. And when I hear an idea, where does it go? Is this a before unit idea? Is this a during unit or sales idea? Or is this an after unit, a way to follow up? And so that's how I break out my notes when I think about stuff, right? So lead magnet, what report, whatever can you give out that they're willing to exchange their name and email for some content? That's how you develop an attraction marketing business, right? Then you capture. Capture is lead capture page, a one-page thing where all they can go to page is not a website. It's just they can give you an exchange. Here's the thing you promised, and they can give you their name and email, or name, email, phone number. And in exchange for that, you give them your content. Now they're on your email list, and now they've given you permission to market to them. And then you have sequences. So that even with what I'm working on, Charles, like this is what I told you, $100 million leads, even with your warm market, I'm trying to flip it. So instead of, so when you do social media, for example, the only reason to go on social media is to get them off of social media, right? If I do something is I want their email list, because I don't own Facebook, I don't own Instagram, I don't own TikTok. So if they decide to change their algorithm and I'm just waiting for people to buy stuff, or people, you expect people to literally go to off your IG and ask for a policy or whatever dumb stuff people are trying to sell you on that they do, you have to go take them from traffic you control. You can buy it or you control it, right? So you can buy it as leads and Facebook advertising, or you can control it and take in these options and do a strategic alliance with people on these. I get a lot of leads from internet because I have this guru that teaches real estate, the Burr method, and IBC, and then they follow her, and she tells them I'm their agent, and then she does workshops, and I come in and do a workshop for her, and every probably about 2 months. And that is a big part of our production, because they'll do bigger policies that already are handling money, and I just got to break it down, show them how it works. But I capture, and then I nurture. That's my email list. Okay. So this is where this came from. If y'all can see this, I took this and I just started, brain dumping. Okay. What do I do to attract? I network. I do direct outreach. I do referrals. I have web strategies. My website is it's called a lead. Basically, my website is a big lead capture page, right? I like speaking and demonstrating. I don't love writing, so I don't blog. I'm really working on my writing chops with email, writing better emails, and keep in touch, right? So these are the and so I would put, so 8 for me would be social media. I didn't put, this is an older slide, but what I did, I purposely didn't put that on there because I didn't want people, what people do, I gotta build a website, I gotta get ClickFunnels, I gotta do all this stuff. That takes a minute to get that going. And I wanted to do stuff that you could do tomorrow. I don't want you going down the black hole that is social media thinking you're working and you're not. That's why it's not on there. So that's purposely not on there, but it will be 8. Okay. And but because what happens is, before you do all that, if you don't have a CRM and you don't have a way to capture leads, then you're spending a bunch of money wasting stuff because you haven't built out a unique selling proposition. You haven't built out a mechanism to capture the leads your social media is generating. So you're wasting time and money because you're letting them flow right through your fingertips. Okay. And then I want to nurture them. I want to keep in touch. So originally when I did my podcast, I didn't view my podcast as a track. I view it as nurture. So I viewed my shows was to keep in touch, like a annual review every week with my people. So now I realize it's a bit of both, and I use there's another one I put on. I haven't put on here. I do guest podcasting. So I have a company I pay to get me on. I just got off one of those. I guest on 2 to 3 shows a month, and I've got real money from that. Okay. And so I got to make sure that I give a good, call to action, basically text this to that. So it's not salesy. I just try to give good information and go, wow, this is interesting. Let me follow him. He's a little bit crazy. He talks fast, but okay. I think I want to find out what he's talking about. And then I send them to a special page we create for them. And I send them to the website, I send them to my YouTube channel. They follow me. And again, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And so this is how my map, right? So it's before, during, and after, right? So offline, seminars, postcards, business cards, networking, partners, CRMs, online, podcasts, social media, right? So this is how I sort it out. So all of these, you can go deep into each one of these for hours, right? So that's what I'm saying. Don't get caught up. I just want you to say, look, all right, if I'm just prospecting and hoping to bump into and get referrals, okay, your business is going to be up and down. So you need to see more people. Okay. I'd probably add partners, Olympic, part where I have 10 people that send me 3 people a month, not names, introductions. Matter of fact, I create a special through the CRM website for each of them, and then they let know that so and so refer them, and then we make an appointment, or I have them put them on my calendar. Okay, that's a thing. I don't want they're not doing that, because what if you are in my we call my Olympic referral partner program, then what are they weak at? What are accountants weak at? What are attorneys weak at? Lead generation. So again, what am I going to help you do? I'm going to teach you how to get more people to refer to me. Otherwise, you can't be in my group. So if you're in my group 9 days, you don't send me referrals, you out my group. Accountants are a dime a dozen. You gotta get business with CPAs. CPAs, they don't know anything about insurance. I mean, I don't give them that same type of credence. They don't know anything about marketing, right? Which is getting the customers. Okay. So I'm good at that. So if you want me to help you grow your business, then I'm not going to charge you for this. And I could, the price is three or more introductions a month to stay in my good graces. So I'll send you people. So it's all about positioning with me. I don't want to be in a begging position or a subservient position. You want to be in because good stuff, right? So you got to trust that you can really help people properly protect themselves, help them save money, help them budget, help them we got advanced markets. We do a lot of great stuff for people, but you got to have something to say. And you got to have somebody to say it to, and then you got to keep in touch, because these people sell the people you already sold, right? So you want to have persistency. My persistency is 99%. Because when they pay me, I don't like giving money back. Okay. So, I charge back. I say, look, if you're shaky, listen, if you're not willing to do the homework, like I do infinite banking, if you don't read a book and do what I tell you to do, say, listen, I ain't going to talk you in this. Matter of fact, if you don't do your homework, I'm not going to let you do it, because I got to talk you into keeping it. If I got to talk you into doing it, I got to talk you into keeping it. And when they pay me, I get a commission. I tell them, let me keep it 100. I get paid when you do this. They pay me, right? And if you cancel it, they take it back. All right. So if you think you're shaky, let's not do it. Let's save each other the pain, because if you do that, I'm going to tell you, Curtis, giving back money makes Curtis unhappy. Okay. And so I'm going to be pissed. So you don't want me mad at you. So you better act like, life happens, but I tell that so I'm not bashful. Like, we're in business, right? And if you're going to do this, then we're going to make sure it works for you. I'll make sure I solve a problem, and you're going to keep it. And so I'm looking at their cash flow, because I want to make sure they can keep it, or I ain't going to sell it to them, or I ain't going to sell them as much. Okay. So I hope that is helpful. So this is how I pulled it together. This is one page of a thing I do internally. It's called the Practical Wealth Solutions Client Service System. So I use Circle of Wealth, Charles, as you know. I also use another thing called principle-based planning. this was part of what I did in the when we were at Connections, but it was, here are my attraction methods: workshops, seminars, Olympic referral partners, referrals. I market a lot to my existing database. I do use social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, mostly YouTube and IG are where I get engagement from, where I get appointments. I podcast, I guest podcast, and I network. So this is attract, capture, nurture. Then I give them a 15 or 20-minute strategy session call, and then this starts my process, the during process, where, see, the sale happens. See where the sale is? Step 10 in the second meeting. But my average case is $10,000, base premium a year. So you ain't gonna do that coming in and out the house without a check. You can do that with mortgage protection. You can't do that with planning. You gotta, I gotta tell them what I do. Here's how I get paid. Part of which is referrals. Then I'm gonna review your financial questionnaire. Then I'm gonna find the money. Right? Find the money. What am I looking for? How they pay their mortgage, taxes, how they fund qualified plans, how they pay for kids' educational expenses, and how they finance things. There's more money lost in those, what I call wealth transfers, than there are making winning investors. So I look at your finances. I'm trying to find $500, $600, $700,000 a month. I say, if I find it, will you save it? What would you like? I found it. What would you like to do with the money? Oh, I want to buy a boat. Wrong answer, right? I want some jet ski. Nope. No. How much are you saving? Okay, we're going to save that. Okay. And we're going to, go into the products that we're going to use. Products are just tools of implementation, and then we're going to apply. Right. So that's kind of my during unit. And then the after unit, content marketing. I call it client continuing education. So education, webinars, articles, to a lesser extent, videos, seminars, quarterly check-ins. RBQ is just a relationship building questionnaire. Plant seeds for the future, answer questions, create questions, update and document the CRM. We have a process called our money organization plan. And so that's our business. So if you email me, because I don't think we put it together yet, I'll put a link with some of the tools I mentioned, the CRM tools that I use, my affiliate link, in full disclosure. So if you
Hey, Curtis, I know we went over, but do we have time for maybe just a couple of questions? If
yes, please go ahead. Because
anybody
I
I
get
know
into it. I'm
Roz.
trying to
I
finish.
know Roz has a question. Roz is an accountant. I saw the look on her face when you said that about account. Roz, is she still there or she's gone already? I don't see her.
I mean, I love that, because
No,
accounting,
Raz is gone.
financial
Yeah.
literacy is accounting.
So anyone have any questions? Derek, Prince,
They should be your best friends.
Gregory, I know you're driving.
So I have a lot to talk about because I'm an IUL guy and you're a whole life guy. But I am,
Talk about, because I don't. You do what you do.
I'm not a product pusher, right? So
Right.
I tell people like this: listen, people tell you term, whole life, IUL. I'm licensed to sell them all. So whatever one you buy from me, I get paid from. So I don't care what you buy. I just care that you buy from me. um, but with infinite banking, so you're generally using the riders to overfund these, and I'm guessing avoiding MEX, or
Yes.
okay. uh, and then I guess my question on whole life with that, because I have both the Nelson Nash books, the case for IBC and becoming your own banker. And I understand the traditional whole life, but I think and again, this is just my thing, is I prefer IUL because of the flexibility of death benefit and premiums. And uh, I know we talk about the safety of the cash value of the guarantee, um, or what is it, the arbitrage. But now it's exactly the same in an IUL. When you borrow that money, it acts as if it's still there.
Okay. This is a marketing talk, so I'm not going there.
Okay, I'm sorry.
One, what you said is not completely accurate, but this is not the forum to talk about that. So
Fair enough.
and in the book, I can't find it right now. Nelson said we don't use IUL for IBC, so you can do it, but you're not doing infinite banking if you're using anything other than whole life, because they're different products. They work differently. They're not similar at all. So it's not the product, it's the strategy.
Yes. So
So
in that, I would say, how do you market infinite banking itself to realtors? Because my thing right now, I'm looking at collateral assignments. And I have a few clients that I'm working on that with, and I want to be able to market that and work with mortgage professionals or realtors. But a lot of the mortgage guys that I talk to are seemingly unfamiliar with the concept or uncomfortable with talking about it.
about what? Insurance?
Collateral assignment, using life insurance.
Yeah, because that's too soon. I don't talk about any of that stuff. I need to know them. I might talk about, so if I went to talk to a mortgage company, I would talk about cash flow management, how you're losing money. So I want to get into a conversation that brings value to them first before I go in talking about a product solution. That's the problem. You go in talking about products. I don't go in talking about products. I talk about how I attract people, but I attract people with the messaging, getting out of debt, where I'll talk about ways of doing that, and then how the way I do a whole life helps them get out of debt. That's the strategy. Once I've attracted them to the idea, I like talking about cash flow management. I do, and the Circle Wealth is something called Circle Talk. So I do general stuff that gets them, because I don't know what they need until they do a fact find. Like, so my goal is to get in front of them, get to know them a little bit. I don't, until I figure out what they want that money can buy, products are irrelevant.
Okay.
That's why you see the product with step 10, 9, and 10 in my process. That's why. But that process and doing the stuff I do, attracting people through that process, made me number 13 in the nation in life insurance production, with me, 2 virtual assistants, and a transaction coordinator, personal production.
Yes. Yes, thank you so much for this, Curtis. I don't know.
So I want y'all, because I'm not saying it to brag.
Mute.
I'm just saying that this is what I do, and this is the result of this.
Well, yes, it works for you. That's why I wanted you to come and I had an opportunity to listen to you with the study groups, and I appreciate you coming and taking your time, and you dropped a lot. Everything from the books you read to your assistants, the CRMs and free gifts and a book study. We tried a lot of that, and also you do a lot of work on
Hold on, I'm on the phone.
on social media. Greg, you have something? We're getting ready to
Yeah,
wrap up. One more
quick
question.
for Curtis. He mentioned finding the money for the clients, helping them, find funds that they're losing unknowingly and unwittingly. What does that look like? Is there a fact finder? Is there a particular questionnaire? Or how do you get to? You mentioned mortgages,
Yeah,
taxes, but
there's
is there a checklist or something?
so I'm in Circle of Wealth, so that's the thing that we teach. But I don't know if you ever Charles, you ever seen Van Miller, the Van Miller newsletter?
No, I don't believe
I'm
so.
gonna forward you one. But what he does is like $19 a month, something like that. But he has a great newsletter, and all he talks about is how to find the money, how to look at taxes, how to look at this and that. So there's a fact, whatever you use for a fact find is just that. So what are you doing? And so it's in I don't know if I can pull it. Let me see something. So let me see if I can, in my slideshow, I'll show you one, because I think I have it up because I just did a training. But it's in the producer workbench. Like, anything that you're using to collect the client data is a fact find, right? And so what I do is I have a mental checklist hold on a second, back on it, of stuff I'm looking for. So a lot of times mine is fillable and I just send it to them. Where's that? Here we go. This is from, I think I got this from Circle of Wealth, but it's any fact find will do. You just need to ECQ. There it is. Okay. Can y'all see?
No, you stopped sharing your screen.
Yeah, I'm gonna let me move. I can't see the zoom. Oh, here we go. So after I do a meeting, they want to move forward. Once I show them what I do, all right. Well, the next step, I kind of want to see what's going on. So I'll do it with them. A lot of times I'm doing it through Zoom, so I email it to them. I make the next appointment, and then I email it to them. So I say, look, I need this back. So we're meeting again on Tuesday. I need this back by Monday so I can look at it. And so I either will print it out and I'll just write on it, and so I'll ask questions around this. What do you do? How long you been there? How do you see your salary going? I mean, I'm just writing all over this thing. What are they doing? So they should, and they won't have it completely filled out most of the time, right? What you have defined benefits plan. Most people don't. Do you have any looking for inheritance? Are you selling a business? Do you got a property that's on the market that you're getting rid of? I want to see if they have any cash flow. Did they leave a job? Did they have an old 401k somewhere? Okay, so I'm looking for money. Assets, right? This is their balance sheet. So I like doing cash flow so I can see what's coming in and what's going out. I don't think you can really help them until you look at that. Look at their budget. And then first they have a second mortgage, they have other real estate. If they have 3 or 4 properties, I'm going to turn over on the back and I want to, okay, what's the market value? When did you get it? What's the mortgage? What's your net profit on that? I want to see that, right? Because I'm looking for those people. That's who I attract. I want people to have cash flow outside of their job. Qualified plans, what they have. That's a transfer. So if they're in my mind, so the 5 transfers are how you pay your mortgage. So if I look at their mortgage and they've got a 15-year mortgage, they're paying extra on the mortgage, they're doing bi-weeklies, that's a transfer amount. That's a waste of money. Okay, in this environment, that's not good. And that's money that they're giving to the bank that they can't save. So this is where you find the money. So first you find it and say, look, if I find it, will you save it? That's before I go through all this. I ask them that, right? So they said, well, I mean, you should save it now, $500 a month. So if I can find another 500 or 600 or more, will you save it? Because that's my money. I just found it. Okay, so now you're gonna save $1,000 a month. So in my mind, I've already created a max minimum non-max whole life with that money. Okay, or maybe 800 and put 200 in the bank. It depends on what I see here, right? What's their cash? They have a lot of money in CDs. They have a lot of things that have risk and volatile and not a lot of liquidity. They don't have 3 to 6 months of liquidity. That's our first problem I'm going to solve for. If they're funding their qualified plan over the match, if they're doing SEPs, if they're self-employed, I think they're writing a $25,000 check to keep from writing a $5,000 check. If you look at how much money actually saves them in taxes. So that will be better served if they're in business, having a pool of money they can access so they can invest in a number one asset, which is their business, not sitting at some fund manager you never met. So this, Charles, is where I'm a little bit different. Okay. And so I look at that. But if they're an easy one is I look at taxes. Are they over or under withholding? They're getting a refund back. Okay. You can talk about that. If they have a home-based business, you can look at their tax return or ask them, well, did you file are you LLC or are you scheduled you file a sole proprietorship? And are you writing off your mileage? Are you writing off your home office deduction? Okay, where you can help them adjust their W-4 and do income shifting, right?
2 quick questions, Curtis.
This is why
You actually have the client fill out the fact finder, 1, and 2, how do you get to that point in the conversation in a nutshell? I don't want to suck up too much time.
after I do show them what I do, the next step for me is not fill this app out. I do planning, right? So the next step for me is, okay, great. So I want to kind of see what's going on in your world. So, because I don't know what they should get yet. How do you know that after one meeting? Unless you're going with an agenda to sell this. I don't. It's a little bit of, that's why you got to have, what is your process? So really, that's y'all part, right? Depending on what you want to do. Some things where it's mortgage protection or it's instant term and you're solving an immediate need, then boom, go ahead and make the sale. But most of the time I'm digging. They're coming to me because they're looking for planning. I did something in the producer workbench called a priority planning review. So it tells you what they want. And so sometimes I'm not taking everybody through. I want to see this for everybody because I want to know what's going on. But I go from after I present what I do and how on a scale of 1 to 10, how does what I do fit what you're looking for? That's my close. And they say if it's an 8, 9, or 10, I'll say, hey, great. The next step is I used to do it right there, but I send it to them and listen, I'm gonna send you this. I need you to complete this for me. We're going to schedule our next meeting. And then I'm going to look at this, what I call backstage. And then the next meeting, I might go over how to be the bank. But right now, I just want to see what's going on in their world and what they want that money can buy first, right? And I do it through this. And then when they send it to me, I'll either get what's missing and I'll mark it up. And I'm in my mind, I'm going, all right, mortgage, taxes, qualified plans, college education, major capital purchases. So because there's more money lost in those 6 things than is trying to pick winning investments. And then I'm looking for that stuff. My mind is trained to find the money. And, so I've found in just doing this process, I've saved people as little as $400 or $500 a month to as much as $3,800 a month. Sometimes I'm bring in a mortgage person and we restructure their debt or what have you, and I've consolidated some debt, pulled out some equity, freed up $1,500 a month. It's so that process took about 2 months, but it started from this. I make my referrals to a PNC person, right? Because most people that you run into are underinsured. They don't have a maximum protection. They run around with the minimum coverage, it's safe auto, max for the minimum, that kind of stuff. When they should have 250, 500, 100,000 property damage, 250,
Their
500.
homeowner.
Sure. Yeah, I don't get paid on that, but it's a trust transfer because I've taught them something they didn't know. Do you have replacement costs for your homeowner? Do you have at least $1 million liability coverage? Right. So, and you might develop a strategic alliance with another PNC only guy. That's either, you could independent, preferably, but it could be whoever, because if it's Allstate or State Farm, they have their people trying to do life stuff. So I like doing independence where a lot of times their insurance license, you could do a joint work with them.
Allstate no longer sells life insurance, just so you know.
Okay. Because I was in their thing a while ago where they were trying to get their people to sell securities and insurance, but yeah, they're a mess anyway.
No,
Curtis, the big takeaway from this is really you help people to budget, find the money, find ways they can cut back, and then whatever you find, you're finding a place for them to store the money.
Yeah.
And this is where the whole life
for me, it could be
the rider can come
in.
It
could be
and
depending on
have
your
the death
philosophy.
benefit.
Yeah, IUL, it's always going to start for me with maximum protection, and then I'm looking for a safe place to store cash. And some of them still going to go in the bank. Like if they don't have any money, I'm not
that's
putting
a
all their
great
money in life
strategy
insurance.
because most people are not saving. I can tell you that right now. They're not saving.
Yeah, and so to me, in our community, we have to start there. Like we have to get their finances straightened out. You know what I mean? And so I like looking at that because people are out there selling them bullshit. Excuse the expression, but they're selling them nice, And so I think that in this business, we've got to educate ourselves, do what's right, service people, and you'll have referrals coming out your ears. You'll have people, hey, look, can you come talk to my church? Can you talk but you need to have something to say that makes you different in the marketplace. And then where that came from. So I learned that from Don Blank. You got to have something to say. And then Curtis's add to that is you got to have somebody to say it to, which is why I just showed you. All right. So I got something to say that makes me unique. That where I have, 80, 90% close ratio. I don't overcome objections, whatever. And then I follow up, and then I do the attract, capture, nurture to feed my during unit. And so I think about that. So if when you're looking, if your business is down, I look at, okay, am I filling the top of my funnel every day? Am I working the back end? Am I getting referrals? Can I do client reviews? So I'm a maniac about that stuff because I track. I'll show you one last thing. And no, you can't have it because it's a work in progress, but I'll show it to you. How let me see, where's it at? This is it. Yeah, here we go. So you see this? Can you see this? So I
Yes, we
haven't
see it.
I'm
Yeah.
behind. I haven't updated this for May and June. This is the wrong one actually. I have updated it. So this is the old one, but this is so this is what I've done was I put the stuff the before unit. So all of this stuff 2 through 9, then I track how many first appointments did I have? How many first appointments are held? How many meetings after that? Second or third meetings if needed, and then how many people referrals did I get? Right? Then how many cases are submitted? See, because people focus on this. If you don't do this, you ain't gonna have none of this. So I start from here, and then after this, I track it on my profit and loss. Here's the revenue. Here's what ends up in my bank account. But it starts if you want to grow the money in your bank account and get your business to 10, 5, 10, 15, $20,000 a month, it starts up here. You're in the marketing business, right? And then you got to have something to say. And then through that process, that on the back end pops out this, right? And then, so can I get this bigger? Can I add more disability? Can I get into a market where I'm doing annuities? I might add legal shield to this and some other stuff, but those are the fact find allows me to find other opportunities, strategic alliance partners, referral fees that I could do with people that do business credit. I got a joint venture with somebody like that, right? And then, I had a business credit guy sent me 5 referrals in the last 4 weeks.
So with that, my friend, we are out of time. Man,
So
I'd love to have you
helpful.
come back and go over that circle of wealth.
Okay.
That's a whole nother
That's a whole
that
other
circle
thing.
of wealth. Yeah, that because you showed me
And
that.
I'm one of very few Ameritas people. I was at one of the guys, the tall guy that's in Florida was there at the last think tank. And it's
Yeah.
no Ameritas Circle of Wealth people, which is amazing to me.
Well, you got me on. I'm registering for that. And then I know Gregory, he signed up for the certified retirement counseling course. So that course with this system, that'll change his whole
Yeah, so you have to
yeah.
work on I'm an old basketball player. You got to work on your game, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And you have to invest money. I mean, I've gone through the Master Mentor program twice, which is about $8,000 a year. But the promise was we'll turn you into a pitiful producer, which was if you don't make at least $250,000, we'll give you your money back. So I says, okay. And I was scared to death. I'll take that bet. And guess what? I didn't make it, but I made like 218. So I was like, okay. And then
Still good. Yeah.
yeah, I'm good, right?
Coming
And
from
then
50,000, right?
yeah, exactly. So it's close enough for me. I'm not, and then,
Yeah.
I hit it easily the following year and I ain't never been under that since, and
Oh,
so
awesome.
that's it. So I'm like, I'm at the thing. I was like, where are y'all? You got to at least make Summit, right? And then, and then I'm the only Black guy advisor
And,
at,
yeah, that's why
no, you
when
got to at least make leaders, right? Because the leaders in
leaders,
Hawaii.
it's in
And
Hawaii, yeah.
then Summit. I'm the only Black guy in Summit. So I'm like, all right,
Yeah, when I saw the
fine with
list, I
that, but
said,
I'm
I
lonely.
saw the list. I said, I know that guy. He's in my study group. Yeah, you stuck out like a sore thumb on that list. I tell you.
They sent out the MDRT thing this week. You get that the MDRT poster
No,
for
I didn't see the
people.
MDRT one.
So it just came in the mail. I don't know if they send out to everybody, but they send it to this. But it's like I made quarter table, right? I
Yeah.
made top of the table the year during COVID. I don't know if they relaxed the requirements, but I've been quarter the table solid for the last 2 weeks. And so the only there's another brother from Maryland that's he's on MDRT top of the table, which I can't think of his name right now. And then it's another, I think, Black woman, and then there's me at quarter table.
Quarter
At the
table.
mid tier,
Wow.
and then there's a few at
Awesome, man. Great
MDRT.
job, man. Congratulations. And nice job. Awesome.
I'm just working. I don't know. It's all. Thank you.
All right, man.
So
All
I ain't
right. Well,
nobody special. People were like, hey, when they saw me get Summit Tuesday, and I was like, oh wow, I didn't know you were all. I'm not all that. I just
no, you got a whole system. Yeah, you had a whole system.
I got a whole
Man,
system.
we appreciate you, man. We really have to go, but thank you
Appreciate
so
me. I'm
much.
see y'all next year. Some of y'all in Hawaii next year. That's how you thank me.
Yeah, we will. We got 6 months. We got plenty of time to get it
Plenty of
done.
time.
All
Plenty of time.
right. All right now. So take care, everyone. Thank you.
All
Have a
right.
good day.
I hope this is
Appreciate it.
helpful. Thanks for joining.
All right.